My husband, 34 male, and I, 30 female, have family dinners at our house every month or so with our family. I have some sets of fine china that I like to switch out between the seasons that I've inherited from my grandmother. When we have our get-togethers, I serve dinner on these plates. My mother-in-law compliments them every time. My sister-in-law, 32, however, has commented to me that they're not her style. I honestly didn't think twice about her comments until this past February when one of my plates was put in the sink, broken. I chalked it up to an accident. In April, we had another dinner. This time, sister-in-law was carrying both her and her boyfriend's plates to the sink and accidentally dropped both. Again, no biggie at all. In May, she broke 2 more plates, and in June, she broke a plate and a cup. At this point, I was catching on. I brought these concerns to my husband, who brushed them off as accidents. I told my mom, and she thought my sister-in-law was doing it on purpose. So I got a camera to put in my dining room. In July, we had dinner, and I had an opportunity rise. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and her boyfriend joined us for dinner. While our plates were still on the table, my mother-in-law asked how my plants were doing, and I said I'd show her. I told my husband to follow us outside to show her the plant he was growing, leaving sister-in-law alone with her boyfriend. When we came back inside, 5 minutes later, her plate was broken. When they left, I pulled up the camera footage. I saw her stand up when we walked out, peek around the corner, and then throw the plate on the ground. I kept this video to myself. That brings me to this past weekend, and we had our family dinner, and we were joined by my in-laws, sister-in-law, and her boyfriend, as well as my parents, siblings, and niece. I served everyone, saving evil sister-in-law for last. I brought her food out on a child's plate with a sippy cup and got those kids silverware with plastic handles. She looked at me confused and said, "I think you mixed my plate up with your niece's plate." And I said, "No, niece's name is responsible enough to eat on a grown-up's plate. If you're going to act like a child in my house, I'll treat you like a child in my home." She tried to play coy, but I had my iPad ready and played the video to everyone at the table. She started sobbing, swiped the kid's plate off the table, and stormed out. My in-laws both apologized and offered to pay for the replacement plates, but I told them not to worry about it. Despite this, we still had a nice time. When everyone left, my husband told me I was out of line and cruel, but I told him that this had been happening for months, and I told him it was bothering me multiple times. It's Wednesday, and he's still being a little cold to me. And I also got a text from my sister-in-law's boyfriend asking me if I would apologize to her because I really embarrassed her. I sent him the video again, and he left me on read. My husband just called to ask me if I was taunting her boyfriend because his sister called him crying that I was. So, am I the idiot? Edit. Just speculation because my husband is still giving me the cold shoulder. It's probably because that's his younger sister, and she has been in and out of, albeit self-caused, trouble these past few months. She was caught stealing clothes. Her boyfriend stole some silly stuff, like those bladeless fans and decorative outdoor lamps. Again, I'm guessing, but I think they're getting a thrill or something out of it. Not the idiot. Your husband and your sister-in-law's boyfriend are idiots, though. You inherited those from your grandmother. Sister-in-law has something seriously wrong with her mentally. Who breaks someone else's plates just because they aren't her style? Who cares about someone else's plates? It's a plate, and it's not her house. She's behaving like a child. She deserves to be treated like one and called out. What a psycho. Does she display any other type of aggressive behavior toward you? She sounds jealous and is throwing a tantrum like a toddler. There's more going on here than plates. Nobody breaks fine china at someone else's house because they don't like the pattern. She's upset over something else and taking it out on your china. What is she really mad at? You don't owe her an apology. Just because she's pouting doesn't mean you're wrong. She's pouting because she did something wrong and is embarrassed. It is unfortunate you had to resort to a video, but Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. No one listened to you. Do you have to get resourceful? Oh, wow. So husband knew that she had behavioral issues and stole things, but insisted that she couldn't be breaking plates on purpose. And later, he thought you were the idiot? Sorry, OP, but all of this doesn't sound healthy. Your husband's an enabler, and just because she's not ruining stuff that he cares about, it's not a big deal. I cannot imagine walking into anyone's house and intentionally breaking their plate because I thought it was ugly, or even commenting that I thought the plates were ugly while there. Just a socially maladjusted thing for the sister to be doing. You're amazing. You have nothing to apologize for. Your sister-in-law does have lots of things to apologize for, though. I, 24 female, live on a 4-acre property that I bought for cheap from my grandma, who moved to a retirement community. My nephew's turning mid-teen at the end of the month. My sister asked if we could host his party here on the family property, meaning at my house. I told her no, because my nephew's not allowed at my home. My nephew does not respect boundaries and treats everything like his plaything, including the boundaries of my older black lab, Davos. He constantly chases him around and tries to pick him up, despite me telling him to leave him alone, constantly. Davos has arthritis and can't be chased around and hates loud noises, which my nephew is very loud. He doesn't have any behavioral disabilities or anything. He just doesn't care about other people's wishes. My sister blew up at me, telling me I was putting a dog before my nephew, and it was grandma's property that I couldn't dictate. I told her it was my property. I bought it, tended it, and paid all the bills. My mom called me and asked if I could put Davos in a room during the party and suck it up for a day. But I said no. This is his house, and he's allowed to go wherever he wants, and I won't shut him in a room. Now my family's divided, some calling me immature and selfish, and others saying I'm right, while some, including my father, refuse to get involved. Am I the idiot? Edit. My Nana and I have always had a very close relationship, and I've helped her tend the property for as long as I can remember. So she offered to sell it to me when she grew too old to tend to it herself. So no, other family members weren't given the opportunity to buy it, but they also weren't interested in it. It is very old and outdated, and my sister especially always talked about how much she hated the house's aesthetic. The sole reason she wants to host it here is because my house has the most space. It's not a sentimental space for her. Not the idiot. Your nephew and his mother are learning that actions have consequences. Best birthday gift you could give him. Setting aside the dog issue, it's your house, and you're not obligated to host anyone's party. You have every right to stand your ground and tell them to leave you alone. Also, if they have copies of the house key, change the locks ASAP. I wouldn't trust them not to try to come uninvited and refuse to leave. Oh, also, the total entitlement of your sister expecting to be able to use your property for this party? What a trip. She sounds like she's quite an idiot on multiple levels, including her dismissiveness of your property ownership and her expectations that she has access to it as if it's somehow a communal or family space. And for those family members siding with sis and thrusting their unwanted opinions forth, I tell them, why don't you host the party then, and hang up? If you suck it up, then you're just accepting this behavior, and we both know it won't just be this once. This sounds very familiar, as I inherited a beach house from my grandfather and had to take out a mortgage to pay my sister off for her share of it. To this day, she still calls it our beach house and tries to demand the use of it because it belongs to the family. Every time I remind her about the enormous check I handed her and asked her if that's still our money. The audacity. My teen male, dad and stepmom work late, so it's usually just me and my stepsisters home alone. The older one is usually at her friend's place, so she's away during the day. I'm usually gone for football practice or the gym during the day, while my other stepsister, Teen, is at soccer practice. She forgets her house keys maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Usually, I'm only 5 to 10 minutes behind her, so I can just let her in. The other day, though, I decided to go get lunch with my buddies, so I was late from when I usually arrived home. When we were walking to the restaurant, my stepsister called me, asking if I was coming home and saying that she was locked out again. I told her that I was getting lunch and to call her sister if she needed to be let in. She tried pleading with me to come home because her sister was like 20 to 30 minutes away, and we both knew she would decline. I basically told her tough crap and to wait until I came home and hung up on her. This is where I might be the idiot. We were done with lunch in about an hour, and I decided to milk the time till I had to go back home, and we hung out for about another hour or two. I had to take the train home, so my stepsister waited for almost 3 hours in our backyard. Needless to say, but she was angry. She was full on cussing me out in the backyard for how I was being rude. I didn't really say anything other than to not forget your key before going inside and heading to my room. I didn't talk to her for the rest of the night till dinner, but after dinner, my dad wasn't too happy with what I did and said if she needed the house key, that I couldn't hang out with my friends till I unlocked the door. My stepsister's angry with me, obviously, and now my older stepsister is saying that I was being a jerk, but I'm curious what others think. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She needs to learn to take her key with her. You're teaching her a well-needed lesson. Dad is an idiot for enabling her forgetful behavior. I would start asking her every day if she had her key. When she gets upset, point out that if you're expected to let her in like a little kid, you will treat her like a forgetful little kid. Since she forgets her key 3 or 4 times a week, it's unreasonable to expect you to drop all your social life this often. I drop all my plans if my family member forgets her key once in 2 or 3 years, but since it's a habit, she has to just wait. Also, parents can help and hide a spare key in the backyard or something. They can also give a spare key to a neighbor. Hopefully it taught her a lesson that not everyone is at her beck and call over a key. It's not like she was abandoned. So you wouldn't have stayed longer if she wasn't locked out? You are the idiot. If that is the case, it's not your responsibility to make sure she has her keys. It shouldn't change your plans if she doesn't have them, but to stay out longer on purpose when you would have gone home if she remembered her keys makes you the idiot. That's malicious. All she did was forget her keys. No need to have it out for her. Also, it sounds like she has ADHD. My family has allergies, so on the one night when I host, they don't have to worry and can eat everything. I host big parties once a season. The whole family comes down, and it's usually a great time. My brother's now married, and he brings his wife along. I'm not besties with her. We're just polite to each other. Now, the first invite, she asked what she should bring, and I told her nothing. Just show up and have a good time. Well, she brought food. I thought she was just being polite, and I reiterated not to bring food since it throws off the menu I made, and I don't know what's in it, and some relatives have allergies. You would think the problem was solved. Nope. Next time she brought more food. I told her again not to bring anything, and that if she really wanted to bring a hostess gift, she should bring wine. We had our summer dinner, and before that, she asked what wines would be good for dinner. I told her a white wine, and told her again she didn't have to bring anything. Just being here was great. Please don't bring food. I assumed she would bring wine, which was fine. She shows up with cornbread. I was so done at this point that I threw it away when she was with the others and just moved on with the night. She noticed the cornbread wasn't served and confronted me later. I told her I threw it away, and she got mad at me. We got into an argument about how I should be grateful that she was helping me out, and I asked if she couldn't listen, since children can, but apparently she couldn't. She called me a jerk, and my brother was mad at me. I don't get why I should be grateful since she's causing that problem and messing up my menu. Not the idiot. If you constantly host these parties and every single time you have to repeatedly ask your sister-in-law not to do one thing, and yet every time she does that one thing anyways, of course you're going to react. I mean, you literally even told her how to help if she really wanted to, and she completely disregarded what you said about bringing wine. I don't agree with throwing away perfectly good food like that, but I understand how it reached the point of you being like, screw it. Maybe next time she'll listen. Maybe sister-in-law's allergic to following the directions. I wonder if she's one of those people who don't believe food allergies are real and wants to try to prove they aren't by sneaking in a forbidden ingredient. She messed around and found out. 3 times she was told to bring nothing. 3 times she brought something. She can host her own gatherings if she wants to show off her cooking skills. Stop inviting her. I, female 28, just had my first beautiful baby boy a few weeks ago. He is the light of my life, and both my husband, 30, and I are overjoyed. My mom, 61, lives overseas and came to help out with the new baby. She's a doting grandma, but tends to do things her way, so there have been a few hiccups. The pediatrician was very clear that no one should kiss the baby other than my husband and I. The baby's little immune system is too weak, and God forbid he gets something. I was very clear about this to my mom, who was resistant, but I was firm and told her no holding the baby at all unless she agreed to no kissing. So no kissing was agreed. Yesterday, I walked into the nursery to find my mom kissing the baby and playing with him. I was so upset. How long had she been doing this behind my back? My mom justified it by saying that the baby was now a few weeks old and nothing bad had happened, so we could start building his immune system. She also said rules like these were why so many children had allergies nowadays. I took the baby from my mom and called her a selfish cow. I told her that it would be her fault and hers alone when the baby died from a preventable disease. I may have gone a bit far. I told her she was lucky I wasn't kicking her out, and the only reason I wasn't was because she had no place else to go. As I type this, my mom is busy packing her bags because she's, quote, clearly not welcome in her grandchild's life, and moaning about how she'll never have a bond with him. She found time in all of this to text my aunt, 65, who called to tell me that I should be ashamed of myself and that my son should count his blessings that he has a loving grandmother. Now I wonder if I was a bit intense and probably could have been a bit more relaxed. So, was I the idiot? This is hard. It's so interesting. I have 2 children and have never been told that people can't kiss my baby. Obviously, in the first 6 weeks, you are to lay low. In Australia, where I live, the recommendation is that people with close contact should have a whooping cough vaccine and no cold sores. I would never tell my mother she couldn't kiss my baby. The bond between a grandmother and a grandchild is so special, but I can appreciate that if your healthcare professional has put the fear of God into you, you would go full protective mom mode and see red. I think no idiots here. Well, your baby is not OP's baby. Maybe he's premature. Not the idiot. Your pediatrician was clear about this. You were clear about this, but she didn't listen. Your child's health comes first, and you are a very fresh mom. Of course you're going to react strongly when she endangers your baby. She should know this. She doesn't get to play the victim when she's risking your child's health. It doesn't matter who's right. Your mom sucks because she went behind your back and did something you both agreed she wouldn't do. It isn't what you both agreed, but you suck the hardest. That's a nasty, nasty thing to say to your mother, who loves you and your baby, and who's there helping you out. You are a huge idiot. By the way, check again with the pediatrician. That rule usually means no one who isn't in constant contact with the baby shouldn't kiss them. Your mother's living with the baby and is taking care of her. I bet the pediatrician would say there's no problem with her kissing him in that context. I'm not justifying what your mom did. As I said, she broke your deal, regardless of where the truth lies. Did you miss the part where Grandma just came from overseas in a germ tube with wings? And who knows how many airports in between? She sounds exactly like the kind of person who shouldn't be kissing a newborn. OP doesn't suck at all. Grandma's gonna do what Grandma's gonna do. Darn the consequences. Not the idiot. And let her see herself out.